All right, we're starting off today's video with a beautiful view of the town of Bend. We're looking at it from the east side of town, up at the top of Pilot Butte. And I'm here to talk about what is this east side versus west side of Bend all about? Why does it even matter? Is there a difference? How do I know which side is which? Well, down behind me is a highway, Highway 97. That is kind of our unsaid separation between the east side and the west side. So which side of the freeway are you on? Or are we following the river? Because they kind of follow along the same path, but there are some differences that you should know when we're talking about what's the difference between each side. So how about a handful of differences? Costs, affordability of real estate, that's one. Essentials, how available are all the things that you need? Landscape, what does the terrain look like? What is the topography? That kind of leads us into weather. How much does that matter for the weather? Not to mention the intangibles. There's always going to be some things that don't really hit the main topic that we got to talk about on why would you choose one over the other? What's better? And is there a best? Well, we're going to take some time to go explore all those really cool ideas. Hope you stick around. Got a few gifts along the way and a bonus at the end. And we're going to have some fun checking out Bend and the east side versus west side right now. All right, so we're talking east side versus west side, and we're talking first topic, costs. So if you didn't know anything about Bend and you got online and you just started looking at what can I buy in Bend if I want to move to Bend and I want to buy a house, and you start looking at there's a freeway down the middle of it or a highway down the middle of it on a map, and I'm going to look at houses on the side where town is. You can see downtown Bend and you can see kind of a bunch of houses, and man, they're expensive, Not a lot of choices available, and the ones that are really expensive. Then you start exploring a little bit more. Well, what if I can't afford that $1 million home? What can I afford in Bend? And you start to see some more affordable homes on the east side of town. Well, there's some logic behind that. It's not just random. It actually exists. If we're talking cost of living and buying a house in Bend, well, the east side versus west side is a battle, and the west side does come at a higher cost. So there's a lot of reasons for it. Some of it's the landscape. You get a lot more custom built homes on signature lots and kind of unique properties on the west side of town, built into the hillside. It's along a river. It's kind of on the edge of downtown. And there's a lot of variables that you can kind of pick on the west side. Whereas the east side, you get a little bit more out into the high desert, kind of change in elevation just a little bit. And you get a space that's probably more catered to a national builder that's going to come in and build a suburban subdivision and give you a little bit more of your kind of normal neighborhood, grocery stores, conveniences, and things that you'll find on that side of town. Doesn't mean you won't find $1 million luxury properties on amazing estates on the east side, and you won't find affordable homes on the west side. But when we're talking east side versus west side, median home prices over the last year or so on the west side hovering anywhere from $800,000 to $1 million. East side, somewhere in that $500,000 to $600,000 range. Hopefully one of those fits your budget and we're able to find a choice that works for you. Let's talk about the next topic and figure out if we're on the right track. All right, so we're going to talk about essentials. Essentials versus amenities, maybe. If we're talking east side versus west side, I got to focus on the amenities first. Part of why the west side's so popular is because that's where the mountain is. That's where the river is. That's where downtown is. That's kind of what Bend's all about. It's not what everybody's here for, but that's what most people come to Bend for, is that outdoor, active town vibe and fun. The east side, it's got a lot. The hospital's over there. There's a ton of really great parks over there. A lot of really cool neighborhoods, and some neighborhoods even getting built up where you've kind of got the neighborhood pool, and you've got the community center, and you've got, a whole shopping area set up where you don't even really need to leave your home. Northwest Crossing kind of came up with that idea many years ago, and town's blown up around it. We're talking about Broken Top and Tethrow and kind of some of the vibe growth that's come out of that west side stuff. Well, we've got that with Easton and with, a few of the neighborhoods coming out of Stevens Ranch. Really kind of see a shift to the east side. A lot of amenities, a lot of essentials. If we're talking grocery stores, places to go to the cleaners and to go to kind of your normal stops, the east side's got a few more of them. West side's got them. Places like Newport Market, you can go and get your groceries, but again, more expensive. It's all about what you're looking for. Specialty stuff really kind of focused in on the west side, and a lot of really cool stuff over there. I still go do a little shopping. We used to always say Costco's on the east side, even though it just moved over there to the west side. That's kind of the vibe. You kind of find that type of stuff on the east side. So east side versus west side. Essentials, amenities. Well, let's take a quick minute and say thanks for watching. Hope you're enjoying the video. East side, west side, lots of tough choices and lots of important factors. So what's this video all about? This video is all about giving you information, education, and proper temptation into the city of Bend, the lifestyle in Central Oregon, and what we're all about. So since we're talking about it, I'm here to get you all that information and hope to help find all of the things you need. So one of those free gifts that I've got for you today, how about a free home buyer's guide? What does that mean? Home buyer's guide is for all of those watching the channel, trying to decide, do I make the move? What do I need to do? How do I buy a house? What's important? And what things do I need as far as kind of steps in the process? So do I need a loan? Am I going to get qualified for a loan? Do I know what part of town I want to be in? East side versus west side? All those things are important and you need kind of some guidance. So click on here. You got all of our information. We hope to help continue the conversation, but a great buyer's guide to help you kind of learn about all those steps. So let's keep this tour going, but check it out. We'd love to connect. All right, so we've touched on it a little bit, but landscape, the topography, the terrain, parts of town that you go to that kind of hide from one another because there might be a butte or a mountain or a slope in between them or a river. Yeah, all those things make a difference on kind of what part of town you're in. When you're on the west side of town, you're in kind of more of the mountainous feeling part of town, whereas on the east side, you're on more of the high desert part of town. Anywhere from a couple 100-foot elevation difference to a couple 1,000-feet elevation difference as we get into the Cascades and up into those mountains. Because it's about a 20-mile drive from downtown Bend up to Mount Bachelor, and that goes from 3,500 feet in elevation in downtown to about 5,500 feet in elevation at the mountain. As you kind of head towards the mountain, you climb a little bit, and as you come to the west side of town, you're at least a couple 100 feet higher. So what does that mean? You get a little bit more snow, you get a little bit different tree growth, all those ponderosas, all those big fir trees, all those big, tall, mature landscaped areas and mountains and hillsides. They bring shade, they bring different temperatures and climate. As opposed to being out in the high desert, the trees are mostly juniper trees. They have their advantages, but not as much shade, not as much protection, and not quite the same view that comes with some of that. So you got to kind of pick what's your style, and both are great, but there's a higher cost in this town for living in those mountains, rivers, hills, and closer to some of the things people like to be here for. Those trails, those parks, and those places where we go and get outdoors. Constant theme happening here on what is the overall landscape? How does that impact the east side versus the west side? Well, now you know. There's a difference. Mountains versus high desert. You choose. So, with that comes a different weather pattern. As you go higher in elevation, you get exposed to a different temperature and you get exposed to more snow. So if we're talking east side versus west side, and what is the weather difference? Well, in the summertime, less shade from all those trees and all that forest and all those hills and slopes means it kind of gets hotter. It gets hot on the west side because you're a little bit higher in elevation, but usually you can find some relief to it. But in the wintertime, that means more snow on the west side, a little bit less on the east side. In the wintertime, you've even got some of those golf courses that don't close. Places like Pronghorn and Versada Ranch, they get less snow. Those are some east side amenities that, we don't want to forget about, because as you go a little bit further east, you get relief from some of those amenities that we deal with on the west side. And they come with some pretty great, ways to explore and get out and enjoy the Central Oregon lifestyle as well. And we're not talking far. We're talking 15, 20 minutes in this direction versus 15, 20 minutes in that direction. That's a big difference around here. So we don't want to talk just Bend, because when you talk Central Oregon and that 20 minutes in each direction, there's a lot to cover that you need to know about. So the weather, year-round, can have most of the weather patterns stay pretty similar in Bend, but sometimes the east side versus the west side, there's a difference. Yeah, it's real. Boy, is this a lot of fun or what? Well, one of those things we love doing while we're having all this fun is making sure we get you all the information you need to take advantage of this fun. What we've done, we already talked about a home buyer's guide. So if you're in the market, you're trying to find a place to buy, you want to learn about all those steps to the buying process, we're here to help. My partner and I, Joshua, want to make sure we get you all the information. And you see all our information on the screen. We'd love to set up a phone call, a text message, a Zoom call, so we can kind of get all that kind of steps to the process ironed out for you. But what else do we need to do? We need to take care of sellers. And whether you're local, whether you're moving from the east side to the west side, whether you want to go from the west side to all this new stuff happening on the east side, or you're thinking about making the move to Bend and you're from somewhere else completely. Well, we have attached our guide to selling your home as well. How do I get it ready? How do I time it right? How do I get the most money? How do I find the right agent? How do I get through escrow? All those things you need to know if you're talking about selling a place. So we're here to help. We want to make sure we get you all the information. Check in the comments below. We pinned that home seller's guide in there for you, and it's totally free. So let's keep it going. We're on to kind of my wrapping up ideas of what's the difference on the east side versus the west side. So now we got to talk intangibles. We got to talk about those things that you can't really find without being here or knowing someone or kind of understanding a little bit about what's this town all about. So I've talked about it a little bit, but we're talking about intangibles. You got to talk about the west side and what draws everybody to Bend. It's the cool vibe of downtown Bend and this historic kind of relaxed mountain town. Great food, great venues, music, arts, people, it's fun. It's cool. You got the river, the Deschutes River brings people from all over the place, not only to float on it and explore it, fish it, but camp around it, just kind of hike it and find those trails. It's what's the big part about Bend is getting out and exploring it. And as we go up more onto the west side, you see those Cascade Mountains, those Three Sisters, Mount Bachelor that you got to get up and ski it, snowboard it, mountain bike it, hike it, camp it, all the things that we cover in this channel and the lifestyle of Bend. That's what the west side really is, a big part of what brings the tourism industry into Bend. That comes with some downsides, more traffic, more people. It comes with cost of living. It comes with those views. And a lot of the views that people love about the west side, you get closer to those mountains. You get a great picturesque view of Mount Bachelor. You get a great picturesque view of the Sisters. You're up on Aubrey Butte and you get a great view of town, or you get a great view of, the Cascades. You get out on the east side, you kind of step back a little bit. You get to that flatter part of, the mountains have come down and you get into the plains and you get kind of this open view where, hey, if I step back, I can see it all. It's that more panoramic view. So you're not so up close, but that does bring some draw to the east side, where all that tourism and all that shopping and all that restaurant buzz of the west side is exciting. Some people kind of want to get out of it. And the east side allows a chance for that. It really is a more neighborhood kind of locals vibe and avoids a little bit of that tourism, a little bit of that buzz and that traffic. So maybe that's for you. And that high desert living, it has some really cool feel to it. That sagebrush, those trees that kind of give it that vibe, there's something cool about being removed from the mountains, looking at it all in the high desert without as much snow. It's affordable, it's beautiful. And, we talked a little bit about the west side's kind of grown out. It's developed. It's really kind of hit its max, and we've kind of tapped into the edge of the Deschutes Forest. Well, one of those draws to the east side is going to be a growth opportunity, an affordability, but it allows us to kind of expand. And that means there's more opportunity to come with Bend on the east side. There's my intangibles. There's the things that, you really kind of got to weigh the things that are important to you and some of those lifestyle choices of what do you do while you're here and what do you want to be close to and what's the vibe you're looking for. Let's go pull this all together and sign off. Follow me. All right, so we're trying to bring this all together, and man, that was a lot of fun talking about Bend, how great it is to be out here, what things you get to do and enjoy while you're out here. But today's topic, time to kind of help give some information about what's the difference on the east side of Bend versus the west side of Bend. And I hope you liked it. I hope you got some good content, some good information out of it, because that's why we do these videos. We want to get you all the information, enhance the temptation of this lifestyle in Bend we talk about. And all of Bend is good. Any part of this message wrong. I love being in Bend. I love being out on the east side. I love being on the west side. I love being anywhere in Bend. But today's video is to make sure if you're looking at real estate, you're thinking about making the move, you already live here and you're trying to understand what is it about going on in the different parts of town, well, that's what it's all about. The last piece of this that brings this puzzle together, talked about a home buyer's guide, talked about a home seller's guide. If you don't live in Bend and you're watching these videos, how about a free ultimate relocation guide? What does it take to make a move? How do we do it? I don't know enough about Bend to kind of figure all this stuff out while I'm trying to make a move. Things like top jobs. Where's the hospital? What are the restaurants? What are the things that I need to know? So click into the comments below. Check out that home relocation guide. It's designed to save you a ton of time and give you a whole lot of great information. We don't care if you're coming to visit, you're coming to make the move. Let's get that conversation started. So you got all our information here. It's my partner, Joshua Grossman, myself, Darren Heinlein with the Lifestyle in Bend team, and we're here to help. We're here to make that connection and start that relationship. So your time out here in Central Oregon is maximized. All right, east side versus west side. Now the rest is up to you. Do me a favor, throw a feedback in the comments. What side's your choice? East side, west side? Which one do you pick? I'd love to hear about it. And even more, let's go explore together. Till the next time, signing off. Let's go.